Greetings. Many of you are getting ready to begin your web development project, your multi-page website, and I wanted to give you some background on some information. The first thing I would like to show you is CSS Zen Garden. That is the name of the website, CSSZenGarden.com. This is the reason we use cascading style sheets. The whole point is to separate totally form from content. I'm very heavy on the content side. I want to get across certain amounts of information, certain amounts of content to you that you will process. I really am very minimalist as far as design goes. So my design work turns out to be very simple, very clean. Some of you want much bigger, much greater design. The Zen Garden shows you that with one HTML file, notice right here you can download the HTML file, you can download the cascading style sheet file. With one HTML file, you can link that same HTML file to multiple different types of cascading style sheets to get a totally different look for your website. Now, for those of you who want to do this as a business or for a company that does this as a business, this is where the rubber hits the road. That company, whoever you're designing the website for, are going to provide you with all of the content. You want to simply take that content, put the proper tags around it, and then everything is going to be about selling it to the customer. I've done this before, so I kind of know. It's all about how do they want it to look, and you can give them a very clean, very crisp one. You can give them a very busy one, and you can give them some things in the middle if they have a preferred color, if they've got a preferred background, if they already have a logo. You incorporate that into the pieces of things. But all you're really doing is creating different style sheets. So you can then go through and give them exactly what they want. My grandfather, who came from the old country, came from Germany way back when he came here in the 30s, he had a great saying for this. One of the people he worked for when he first got here looked at him and said, if the lady wants a pink hat, turn on the pink lights. Basically, you are taking the content, which is, I think, the important part of the website, and just dressing it up. Just make it look pretty and make it do whatever they want it to do. For CSS Zen Garden, if you take a look at the right-hand side, these are some very, very quick ones that you can take a look at. I love a robot named Jimmy. If I just click on that for a moment, the content is exactly the same. Whether you believe it or not, if you read through this, the content is exactly the same as that page we were just looking at. It's just now you have a totally different look and feel to this website. Also, the cool part about this, notice that the text scrolls over the robot. So it looks like you have an appearing and disappearing robot here. If I go back to the original page, content is the same, just different designs. If you go up to the top, view all designs, this will give you a thumbnail view of what it all looks like. It's the exact same HTML file, simply different designs. All of these CSS files have been validated. So if you like one of these, go ahead and download that CSS and take a look at what it can do for you and how they structured things. Never reinvent the wheel. Simply steal from people that you like and who have, in this case, put it out there for free for you so that you can take a look at how they have done certain things. There are some that I would not do, like this one, the one that says moss. I think that's a little bit not contrasty enough. I find it very difficult to read. They did choose to put it on their list of acceptable CSS designs. Right. So there, even though they made the decision that some of these are very good, I don't necessarily agree with all of it, and you don't have to either. The other website that I think you should take a look at is this one. It's OSWD.org. Stands for Open Source Web Design.org. This gives you ready-made templates to download and build a website. Both the pages and the cascading style sheets. I'm not a huge fan of just taking and using something straight out of a box. That's why I hate, cookie cutter websites from like WordPress and that kind of thing. All right, but I do like these. If you're stuck for an idea, it gives you at least some place to start. I like to just go into Browse Designs. I notice that there are over 2,000 designs available. I do suggest you use the filter in the upper left-hand corner on this orange bar. All right, the filter will give you things. Notice there are no HTML5 websites. All right, what you want to do, though, is you want to be in this range. You want to be XHTML1 transitional, strict, or XHTML 1.1. I like to be in XHTML 1.1. Right, they do give you a list of CSS. Right, you don't want any that aren't validated. Right, your CSS must validate for this class. I like to have just the CSS 3. Although 2.1 was very popular up until about a year ago, when most browsers started to really support 3 in a very big way. You can choose color schemes, how many columns you want. But what I normally do is I just pick CSS 3. And these are the pages that are CSS 3 validated. Notice there's quite a few of them. And you can go through and just, pick them out. Some of them can be a little risque. Beautiful Curves is one of those. So be very careful which ones you choose. There are also some in here which I would never use. There is a gentleman who has done this same pattern. He gives you a blue, a red, and a green of this one. I think this is extremely difficult to read. All of these buttons, it's nice rollovers. That's great. And once you roll over it, I can read that it's home, but once I go out of it, I think it's very difficult. I also think this pattern is very trying to the eyes. So I would not recommend this as something to use. On the other hand, they do have some very clean things. That's a very, very clean, very simple, but very classic sort of look. Again, because you get the cascading style sheet with this page, you don't have to stay with this color scheme. If you like the layout, right, but you don't like the color scheme, go edit the cascading style sheet and change the colors. Just make certain that you try to stay within the color palette, right, so that you're using complementary colors. Right, that was that entire section on color that we did for that module. You want to be able to make certain that your colors are not clashing, right, and that they are easily read, right, by anyone. Of course, if they have visual impairment, you want to be able to. They may have their style sheets turned off in their browser. In Firefox, you can do that. You can impose an entire style sheet on any website. All you have to do is set that preference in Firefox, and it will do it. It's not something I encourage, but there are some people with visual handicaps that do that. They increase the font size tremendously, right? And they strip out a lot of the color just so they are assured they are going to be able to read the website. It's also worth looking at the comments for specific designs. These are people that have tried it before. Right? Like this one, if I can get my colors to work, it'll make a good update to such and such. This is, it's a good thing to look at their comments, just so you know what's going on. And if anybody else has used it and they found problems. I have found several of these where there are problems, and the comments list that, and the person just posted the particular web design up there and abandoned it. They never went back. They never fixed it. So you do absolutely want to go in and make certain that it's not something that's broken before you even try and use it. So that should give you a few places to start with web designs, or places where you might take a look and see what you could steal and use in your given web design. The next two videos that I'm going to post for you are going to be on using Amaya. Amaya is the W3C browser, but it is also a web development platform, and it is GUI. That's a graphical user interface. So once you've gotten good at coding, you can load it into Amaya and you can play with it, or you can do a quick, dirty mock-up in Amaya. And then once you know the code, just dump it to your text editor and edit the back end. And it will give you ways to be able to do both. So I want to show you how to do that, because several of you have asked if there is a good, either reasonably inexpensive or free GUI editor for creating web pages out there if you want to do this faster. And that's what we'll do next.